So there I see, okay, there is a the error 128 arises in the server side, and in the client side I just see, I mean, from the test stand or from any other client application, I get this error like 63 or 66. So that situation, it triggered me to see what is this actually. So once this error arises, I'm not able to do any further communication between the client and server. So like what next I should do? Then the operator raises this issue, and he needs to close the server application and restart it, as well as the client application side also. So this affects highly in the productivity as well as the cycle time. So it was a big issue during situations like mass production. So this needs to be addressed. So like when I start doing the analysis, I followed these forums, like our communications. I mean our NI community. So here is the thing. So there is already a discussion going on regarding this error 128. But when I see this, I didn't find any solution has been arrived. There is one person has mentioned that you need to, once this error has arrived, you can close the server side and you can relaunch it. So that's what the operator is doing in the present situation. So which affects our cycle time. So we wanted to, once I just analyzed, there is something discussion going on about the subnet mask. So if you do different levels of masking, you this website says that you can achieve a different number of connections successfully. So the limit can be modified. So that's what this website says. But I'm going to demonstrate this. I'm just demonstrating within my laptop. So like I'm having the server as well as the client for a demonstration purpose in my laptop itself. So there is no it's happening in the local host itself. So there is no subnet mask playing a major role in this situation. Suppose if you have a different machines, if you want to make a client and server connections across different machines, then you might need to think about the subnet mask and things like that. But even within the system, so even my actual production line application runs with the server and client application within the same system itself. So this gave me a thought. So but even I played with these different subnet masks, but the situation was same. Then there are some discussions like something like it says it's limited by the operating system. And also this is another important discussion from the it talks about OS. So you can change the registry key and it increase the number of the limitations, the number of connection limitations. So I tried this also. Even this was also not helping me. So with this analysis, probably I will show you a small demonstration. So this I took my our example, like multiple connections, TCP multiple connection example from LabVIEW. It is very straightforward in terms of the server side. It is the same. The only thing I modified is I just removed the shift register, because I was thinking, okay, just a shift register, the error is propagated and the same error is pushing here. So which may not allow to wait for a listener which is trying to connect. But I'm just supplying always true. I mean, always no error. Even that situation, I am seeing this error. I will show you that. And while coming to the just a client side, just to do a small code, just I'm trying to connect and close the server. I mean, close the TCP connection for multiple number of times. So I will show you like before that. So what I did is I just did like I want to show you like error 66, 63 in the client side and 128 in the server side. So this is the 66 or 63 comes once the client server side has no connection in it. So just to show that if there is error, I just close the loop and come out, so that I'm seeing the 66 here. So with that, I just execute this once. Let me show you the probe also, just for demonstration how it is executing. So I'm just running the server first and the client. So since my client opens and closes the connection, so at a time I am seeing one connection active. So with this, you can see the number of iterations going on in the client side. So which means this many times I'm just opening the connection and closing it. So let it run for around 1024 times. So you can see the error hits at client, that is 128. This is at the server side, and you can see there is an error 63 in the client side. So you can see the network connection was refused by server. And the one more demonstration I want to show you is if the 128 has erased in the server side, I'm not, I'm just keeping the server running, and I'm trying to make further communication from the client side. For that, I want to demonstrate, and the further communication is not possible. So for that, I'm making this loop not to close, so that the client will, server will keep running. So let me execute the server once, press. The clients are started running, and I'm making the so many number of connections. Bear me a second so that let it complete. So once we see this number of times, 1024 times is done. So my loop is completed. At the time I get the error 128. So my server is still running, which means I'm still making a FluxRay, LIN, or any CAN communication with my UUTs. But since this error comes, I'm trying to close all those errors and run the client from the test stand, for example. I'm just running this again. So with that, you can see the clients are trying to connect, but there is no valid connection is being executed success. So you can see this probe is also getting updated, which is a wait on listener. The input is no error, as I shown you. So input is no error, and but the output of wait on listener is having a error, that is 128, which is not allowing me to do any valid connection with the server. So this situation arises, and it give me a huge impact in the production line. So we come up with since there is no solution as of now. So we went for we followed up with Microsoft. Sorry, we followed up with Microsoft for getting the solution, because we referred in one of the link. We see there is a issue with the OS itself. So, but we couldn't get any further proper solution from them. And we followed up with the NI. So they tend to agree, okay, they can give a bug fix in the next version of LabVIEW. So they understand this situation, what we are facing in the production line. But they mentioned that it's a low priority for them. So not sure if the solution will be available in the next version. I'm not sure about that. So for that, we wanted to fix this, or we wanted to have a workaround. So first thing we went for, like, I just close the client. So maybe internally I can put a loop and I close this client and relaunch it immediately, so that once the error 128 arises, without even noticed by operator, I am just closing the server loop, and immediately I'm restarting it, so that I am available. This server is available to do testing for next 1024 UUTs. So the situation was extended like that. But then when I went for this analysis in the analysis in the test sequence itself. So I see the TCP connection is being opened and closed for each UUTs. So I was thinking why it's taking a more cycle time as well. It's inducing to this issue also. So just to avoid that, we moved the connection establishment into a pre-UUT loop, for example. So we do the connection establishment during the start of the production, and close the connection during the end of the production. That is for each UUT. So if I have 4 test sockets in my process model, so that I will have only 4 connections at a time established with my server. So this way, I am this application is capable to to test for n number of UUTs without any issue, without affecting any productivity. So that way we made sure this gives a solution for us. And also whenever there is a connection drop in intermediately, for example, some because of some our OS thread executions or any other interrupts, so we provided a solution for re-establishing the TCP/IP connection in case of any intermediate connection drop. So with this we are able to overcome this situation. So like hope you guys might have come across this error. So maybe you can follow this workaround till a solution from NI comes. Yeah. So this is a small presentation from my side today. So probably if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Ramesh. That was so wonderful, presentation about the experience, what you faced, and how you came across and the workaround solutions and all. Maybe on the demo itself, can you show me, like on the server side, are you closing the reference, when you, yeah. So here, um, like the new connection that you are getting reference, right? And you
Yeah.
wait for 100 milliseconds. So that reference, when it is getting closed, like I just want to understand, or is it simply found out, or
So this is a server, so it's like it's getting the connection, and when once the valid reference there, then it's going to send the data. Otherwise,
yeah,
it is not. It's going to the error, and it is not going to close. And once coming to the closing point, it's coming to the during the stop operation. So it closes all the server connections, and it closes actually. So
okay, okay.
this
So on
strength, yeah. So it looks like this strength is not capable to hold more than 1024. It seems. Yeah.
that is very clear from your demo.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand, like, if let's say you go to send data, okay,
Yeah.
suppose you are sending one to one of the client and you get an error.
Yeah.
So yeah, 56. Any other special cases? Yeah, you are closing this. This is what I want to understand. So the
Yeah.
reference is getting closed, but still you are not able to keep beyond 128. Okay. So
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
something new. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Ramesh.
Yeah.
Actually, I just want to understand, because is it active 128 clients, or it's like total count? Looks like it's
Yeah.
total.
It's a kind of even if as I shown you at the time, I'm having only one connection. So even with that situation also, I am getting this error.
Okay.
So
Okay.
in my production application also, I am just opening for one UUT and closing at the end of UUT. So that
Okay.
way I am going for 1024 UUTs.
Okay.
So after 1024th UUT, I am getting that error.
Okay.
So
Thanks.
probably since Anish, you are there, probably you can highlight this to NI.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
so like yeah.
yeah, something, because this really is a wonderful thing, because I'm also learning that there is a limitation as 128,
Yeah.
like based on the IP address and subnet settings, the limit changes. But yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
this.
yeah. So all the links are available in the presentation. I will share it in our this group chat, so that this can also be referred, Anish. So maybe you can highlight this to NI.
Sure.
In spite of this OS issue, if something can be done by NI, it will be great. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thanks for your time. Yeah.
Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you for the great presentation and the demonstration. Yeah, most of us might not have idea about we can able to solve these kind of issues. So yeah, it's giving light to more many of us here. So guys, yeah, if you have any questions to Ramesh, please feel free to post your questions. So yeah, we are learning some new things, and yeah, definitely we have some questions here. And if you have any questions, please feel free to post. And yeah, I want to personally thanks Ramesh as well, because so when I started this second event, and not only second event, this first event itself, so he came himself by himself, and then he volunteered for the presentation. So I always feel good for this. So I want to thank Ramesh for that as well, for this volunteer. So yeah, I don't see any questions so far. So yeah, if you have any questions, please post into the chat. Okay. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so let's move on to the second presentation now. So the second presentation is from Durai Selvaraj. He is also a certified LabVIEW architect and certified test and architect, and he is also going to talk about some common NI hardware software issues.
Yeah, thanks, Murug. Yeah, thanks, Muruganandam. Hello everyone. Very good morning. Hope you're doing well. Let me share my screen. Okay, hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is Durai Selvaraj. I'm currently working in San ICI for past 5 years as a senior rating engineer. I am a certified LabVIEW architect and a certified test and architect as well. I'm a Green Belt Six Sigma certified engineer. Okay. Today I am going to present what are the issues and challenges I have faced with NI hardware and LabVIEW. Okay. This is my agenda. First, we are going to see the hardware issues, followed by LabVIEW issues and challenges. Okay. The first issue I have faced with the NI USB 6501. It's a digital input and output card. Okay. The issue was when I connected my target device to the DIO card, the DIO card was not able to supply 5 volt to my target device, meaning the voltage was dropped significantly. It reduced to 2.8 to 3.2 volt. Without 5 volt, my target device wouldn't work. So to address this problem, I just gone through the data sheet. I found to know the how that DIO was configured inside the DAC module. There are as per the data sheet, there are two configuration available for DIOs. One is a push pull, another one is an open drain. But for this DAC card has been configured to open drain by default. Okay, in which actually the 4.7K as used in series with the open drain terminal. Okay, which limits the source current of our DIO circuit. So what I did was just I added parallel resistor to the 4.7K in order to increase the source current so that the DIO card is able to supply the 5 volt stable 5 volt continuously to the target wire. So after adding the resistor to the the 4.7K, I didn't see any voltage drop on the DIO cards. That the DIO card was able to supply 5 volt continuously to the target device. This is how I resolved that issue. The key point is, so the source current was limited by the 4.7K, which is the onboard resistor. So if you want to increase the source current, so we have to reduce the resistance value by adding parallel to that. That's a key point. Okay, so let's go to next issue. This issue I have faced with NI USB 6353 card, and this was my hardware setup. The 20 volt was coming from the DUT. Since my DAC was not able to measure 20 volt directly, I have used a voltage divider to reduce the voltage amplitude to the 10 volt. But the issue was I was not able to measure the 10 volt properly on the DAC side. Okay, just I could see only 8 volt and 9 volt coming from the divider. So just I gone through the data sheet. I found that the source impedance is very high. it was in giga ohms, 1 giga ohms actually. So the current allowed by the source impedance is very minimal. So what I did was just I added the resistive load, which is parallel to the onboard resistor. It's kind of 1 mega ohm to increase the current flow on the analog channels. Okay, and also it reduces the source impedance of the analog channels. By after doing that, I was like able to measure the 10 volt on the DAC side continuously without any issues. The key point here is, so for particular the USB 6353, so the source impedance is really high, so it allows very minimum current. So if you want to have like if you want to increase the current flow on the analog channels, we need to reduce the source impedance or input impedance. Okay, so third one, this issue I have faced with NI LabVIEW software. Most of us we might have faced this issue during data acquisition. Okay, this is an execution flow. Everyone we know that how the data acquisition is happening at our DAC card as well as in LabVIEW software. So what's happened, right? So first it start acquiring the data on the data card based on the sampling rate given by the user, and it will be stored in the FIFO. Okay. Then DAC-MX helps to transfer the data from the FIFO to PC buffer. Okay, that is a just RAM. Okay. Then LabVIEW will read the data from the PC buffer to the our application project. Okay. So here is the issue I have faced. The like and also the samples to read comes into picture. The how many data, how many samples we need to read from the PC buffer, that is purely based on the read rate or as well as the samples to read specified in the DAC-MX tree. Okay, so like in my case, I provide very low value of samples to read value. But because of that, I faced this PC buffer overflow. So after going through some documents, I understood that we need to make sure the read rate should be matched with the sampling rate data acquired by the DAC. Okay, so how do we calculate this read rate? It's a very simple one. What is the samples to read divided by the number of like the DAC-MX read, the function, how many times is executed in the loop per second. Based on that, we can calculate read rate. So we need to make sure that this read rate almost matching with the sampling rate. Okay, so like in my application, in my project, just I improve my read rate. So then frequency of this PC buffer overflow was completely significantly reduced. Okay, the key point here is when we doing the data acquisition, we need to make sure that the data on the PC buffer is completely read by the LabVIEW software, or else there is a more possibility that data being overflow and the LabVIEW software will throw the error. Okay, and next one is it's more related to the FIFO buffer. Okay, if you see in this slide, so as I said that NI DAC-MX will help us to transfer the data from the FIFO to the PC. Okay, actually what I issue I we know, like for example the PCI core 6360 will have only 2047 samples FIFO. Okay, so we need to make sure that the DAC-MX should make sure that transferring of all the sample to the PC within period of time. Okay, particularly in high sampling rate. If doesn't, then what will happen, right? So there is a possibility that FIFO get overwritten unless the data unless all the FIFO data transferred to the PC buffer. So how do we resolve this issue? It's a simple way. Reduce the sampling rate if not possible, actually, because many applications we may have to run it high sampling rate. In this case, then we go for reduce the number of channels used on the NI card, so we can move some DAC channels to the another card. This is how I have resolved this issue. The key point is actually when we work on high sampling rate, to make sure that we actually the DAC should make sure that transfer all the acquired samples to the PC buffer. But if doesn't happen within the time, we make it this error. So to resolve that error, we need to reduce the sampling rate or number of channels used on the number of analog channels used on the DAC. Okay. And just we all face many issues with while creating exes, right? So even I have faced many issues while creating exes from the starting of my career in LabVIEW. So just I wanted to post what are the learnings out of it. Okay, so these are the key things I usually follow when I create exe file for my projects. So there are most important things like whatever the files we call the dynamically in LabVIEW project that needs to be included in the always included column, and the supporting files for third-party instruments that also we need to be included. Without that, it may not work as expected. Okay, and as we know, like the log file should be separately added to the executable folder so that it will be accessed by the operator, and that broken VAs the VAs which we are used in the project, all VAs needs to be unbroken, irrespective of whether we are calling that VA in our project or in our top level VA. It needs to be unbroken, because actually I have faced this issue many times. Even that VA is not called in our project, it says that that particular broken, when the particular VA is broken. So while create, so we need to make sure that all the VAs are unbroken before going for the exe creation. Okay. So another of frequent issue I have faced in LabVIEW while creating the exe is that icon. So during my exe creation, we usually add icons, right, for our company icon or our customer icon. So what happens, right? Even though the file exists in my LabVIEW project, the error message say that icon is not available and could not be returned to the application like that. So the workaround solution I have found was changing the location of the icon file to the another directory. By using that, I was I was able to create the exe successfully. This is a frequent issue I faced while creating the exes. Okay. Then I would like to show you some skills like sequence file generator, which I have created during my initial stage of my career. So the requirements was to have a simple sequence file generator instead of using the LabVIEW to create a sequence file or script to run the test with the DUT. Okay, so I have created a sequence file with a subpanel and the control value method, and just I wanted to show you small demo on this. This is my script generator, which has provided some features like loading these files and our sequence file, or we can save the new created sequence file as well. So these are the DAC functions I have created for particular application. So by using that, I can create my script generation. Like this my script, for example, if I want to move this, like if I want to append this function to my script, just I have to okay, just I need to add this. Add to my script. So if you want to save it in our PC, we can save it. And if you run this application, then it will start communicating with my DUT and create the HTML report out of it. So this is simple and user friendly. I have created in a sequence file generator. I have created in LabVIEW instead of using the LabVIEW like the test and do during my initial stage of career. So this is a sub panel I have used to show my DAC functions, and also I have used control value method to move the dynamic value selected by the user to the tabular column. Okay, so we are almost done with the presentation. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you, Gurung.
yeah,
I,
yeah. Thanks for the opportunity, Gurung.
so I have one question. Like,
Yeah,
so
okay.
so you mentioned like the issues with the model number of the DAC devices, right? So
Yes, correct.
that issues are only available with a particular tool or not through various of.
Actually, I faced these issues in one of my project, but actually it's a very common error we usually face in data acquisition. Okay, so
Okay,
any if we do not follow the read rate or read rate properly, we may get into this issue during data acquisition.
that's good. So I want to clear that one. That's good.
Okay, no
So
problem.
guys, any high questions for Gurai?
Not questions, but it's a nice compilation of all the issues that he has faced and how he solved it. Thank you, Durairas and Duraj.
Yeah, thanks, Anish. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, Muruganandam. Uh, yeah, it's a really good spirit to learn new things in LabVIEW and